Hope everybody's doing okay through Corona, of course. Look forward to seeing you all in Minyan someday. And was asked to do just a little something on Tefilah. So I'm looking at Sefer Ava, Hilchos Tefilah, Ubirchas Kochanim in the Rambam in the Mishnah Torah. So Perek Revi'i. So everybody's familiar with these halachas, but just to review. Chamisha Devarim Ma'akvin Es Tefilah. Af al pi shegia zmana. So what are they? Taharas Yadayim, the Kisui Ha'erva, the Taharas Makom HaTefila, Udevarim HaChovsin Oso, the Kavanas Alev. So there's many things there, but I want to just take a look at Kavanas Alev. So then he goes ahead and through the parak he says, he defines these things, Taharas Yadayim Ketzad, Rocha et yada b'mayim ad perek v'achar kach yispalel, and etc., etc. And then later on in the perek, he says in Tes Vav, he says kavanas halev ketzad. So the kavanas halev, how is that accomplished? Kol hatefila she'ena b'kavana. He says any tefillah which is not with kavana, whatever that is, ena tefillah. It's not a tefillah at all. V'im hispalel below kavana, and if you actually do daven without kavana, he hasn't defined it yet. Chozer umispalel bekavana. So you should be chozer and do it correctly with kavana. Then he says matzah daito mishu beshes v'libo tarad, right? So that case where your das is, preoccupied and, you're not able to settle your mind. Aser lo lispalo ad yashiv daito. So it's prohibited for him actually to daven until he's able to settle his mind. Lefika haba min haderech v'ayef o meitzar aser lo lispalo ad yashiv daito. So that's a halachic ramification. Amar chachamim Shlosha yamim ad she'anuach v'yitkarer daito v'achar kach yispalo. Okay, so it gets into kavana, right? Kavana salev. All right, so that's what kavana salev. But then the next halacha is interesting. It says ketzad hiya kavana. So he seems to talk about kavana salev first, and then he talks about what is kavana. Now, it's interesting because what's the distinction? Okay, so it said, and this is where I want to focus here a little bit. Shifane libo mikol hamachshavos. I think that means that he turns his heart from all hamachshavos, all the thoughts. It's a good question. What exactly does that mean? V'yira atzmo ki'iluhu omed lifnei Eshkina, and he should view himself as if he's standing before the Shechina. So Shechina, we'll say divine presence. Lefichach tzarich leishev ma'at kodon tefila kedei lechaven es libo. Va'achar kach yispalel benachas ubetachnunim. Okay? And then it says, V'lo yasa tefilaso kemi shehaya nosei masoi. Right? It shouldn't be like a burden. Mashlicha v'holechlo, right? Lefikach tzarich leishev ma'at achar tefila va'achar kach yipater. Chasidim arishonim hayeshohin shah kodem tefila v'shah achar tefila u'ma'arichin b'tefila shah. So that's what kavana is. So I'd like to just focus on what is the opportunity of tefillah. So the opportunity of tefillah, I think, is that you have a situation where your whole day you're involved in your worldly activities, and now you have an opportunity to stand before the Creator in a state that man naturally becomes when he's before God. So it's as if you're like terrestrial bodies standing on earth, right? very much, physically you're on earth, but like almost as if your essence, whoever you really are, the part of you which partakes of Yediyas Hashem and Avas Hashem and his relationship to truth and reality, the part of that will hopefully, so to speak, live on in the next world, goes back into that world temporarily and removes from himself certain terrestrial, thoughts, and you place yourself, your essence, before God. And in that state, you're naturally going to, ask for you see your dependence on Him and your dependence on God, and how everything is, this is God's world, and etc., etc. And all the bekashos is a natural sort of expression of man in that state. So it's not that we're, davening to ask so that we should receive. That's being somech al tefilah. So I believe that to be somech al tefilah is you feel confident that because my kavanah was so great that God will definitely, he'll be there for me and for my community. That, I think, is a distortion, actually. So rather, tefilah is not it's more of a state of being before God. And you're not being somech on those things. You recognize that is man's place, that he's subject to God's reality, and that, our successes here are largely dependent upon our closeness or our turning to Him. Right? It's not our strength right? It's not my, like when you say, I have such great kavanah, you're somech al tefilah, so you feel like, you're righteous. That righteousness is antithetical to tefilah. So in this idea here at 7 minutes, two things. Kavanah is an opportunity to, again, become in touch with your true self, change in that being. I mean, actually take something from your tefilah, come back to yourself here with a new perspective. I remember when I first in yeshiva, my Rosh Yeshiva said about, I don't know if it was Moshe Feinstein or somebody, some great rabbi, that when the discussion of tefilah came about, he said he looked at tefilah as an unbelievable opportunity. I was just a young guy, Baal Tshuva, and I said, really, it's 3 times a day. Where's the opportunity? What are you waiting for? It's like, over years, it bothered me, but now I understand. Like, tefilah is a truly an opportunity to perfect yourself and to work on yourself and to be able to relate to God in your life and to benefit thereby. So, something to consider. So, yeah, the rules of tefilah, not talking, be mafriya, using it as a social. So, there's a time for being social. There's a time for that. Tefilah, I mean, it's a time to, that's what tefilah is about for you. So then, you're not thinking about, chumming up with your friend and hanging out. It's just, that's not a Musar or anything. It's just like, it's not your focus, right? If you see somebody who might not have that focus, so you don't like judge them. It's not your place to judge them, But if you have this kind of relationship to tefilah, so you would imagine that we would stand like a malachim, like mamash, with our feet together, with kavanah, realizing who we're standing before, and taking this opportunity to not just do this as a yachid, but do this as a tzibor. Every tefilah would be like Yom Kippur. But, we got to work on it. Anyway, yeah. Removing from your mind all kind of terrestrial thoughts. What does that mean? You're not here, right? In that time while you're davening, you're up there, so to speak. That's where you are. And that's a state where you could really, truly accomplish something in trying to be more honest with yourself and do tshuva on the various areas in which we all need to look inward and hopefully change ourselves. So ultimately, tefilah, tshuva, tzedakah, ma'avir, and eskenazi gezerah. And my son's calling me, so take care, everybody. Stay safe, stay healthy.